The Minnesota Vikings have locked up and tossed away the key for Justin Jefferson. He got paid. He got paid. How much did he get paid? Well, 4 years, the total value is up to $140 million. But when you break it down, well, just say this. One sentence. Justin Jefferson received the riches of Solomon. Or in this case, the Viking ownership group, Jefferson now the highest paid non-quarterback in the NFL. He never has to worry about completing a pass. Doesn't have to worry about that. Huddling up and going over the plays and all that. He just has to listen to the quarterback in the huddle, go out there and run out and catch passes. $2.1 million per game, if my math is correct. Signing bonus is about $37 million, one of those giant oversized cartoon checks. First year, he'll make $38 million. Year two, $69.9 million. And then in year three, $95.7. All those numbers are number one in the entire NFL. So the actual value, the actual retail value of guaranteed money, meaning if Justin Jefferson stinks out loud and smells like the bottom of a weed man hippie's feet in South Florida, $110 million guaranteed. $110 million, the average annual value. And I always do this when I compare my money to like Colin Cowherd or Rob Parker. I always like, well, what's my average annual value? It's $35 million per year. That's the average annual value. So let us discuss. A lot of numbers. I was told by a boss early on in my career, you're never supposed to give out that many numbers on the radio, Ben. People are not paying that close attention. I just did it because I'm bad at this. But the question, what do you like and what do you dislike about the Justin Jefferson extension with the Vikings? So I've got Bullseye, Moss, and Biggie Smalls. And we will combine all of these things together. We'll throw them against the wall and see what sticks. So, the thing that I'll say first, and it's rather obvious, I just point it out, throw this out in the cosmos, is that business is booming. Maybe all of us, everyone who's got a job, maybe we all work in an industry that is doing as well as professional football in the zeitgeist of America. The NFL is the opium of the masses. We say it all the time. It's only getting more like that. Just about every man, woman, and child who has a little bit of the sporty gene. Now, not everyone's born with a sporty gene. There's a lot of people out there in the world that aren't like us. They're not sports people. They're bad people. That's what we call them, bad people. But for everyone that's into sports, even a little bit, you end up hypnotized and mesmerized by the product. And the revenues, what do? Do they go up or do they go down? It's like a rocket going out to outer space. But not the vomit comet. No, it's like a rocket going out to outer space. The Viking franchise, the Minnesota Vikings, are worth almost $5 billion. The Minnesota Vikings. Yeah, 4.6. Now, our guy Femi in Minnesota is starting a GoFundMe. That's chump change to him. He's going to get a GoFundMe, buy the team, no problem. But now what we don't like, the thing that we don't like here is that, and I admit this is an age thing, but my entire life I was raised watching football that receivers, while important, are not that important. That you can win. Kansas City this year won the Super Bowl. They had guys they literally took off Craigslist, and they signed them. Right? They signed guys, hey, you want to play wide receiver for the Chiefs, and they won the Super Bowl. And yet here the Minnesota Vikings are. And again, this is more of my problem than anything else, but the Vikings are forking over this amount of money to a guy's out on an island. Now, it's a nice island. It's a very rich island. Good for him. But last I checked, he can't throw himself the ball. He cannot throw himself the ball, which means this is like shopping at the Bullseye store. You're going to the Target, right? You're going to Target. How many targets? Let's do some MALLER math here. How many targets is Justin Jefferson going to get per game? Well, we know what he has done. Jefferson, in his career, has averaged 9.6 targets per game. So about 10 a game. We'll round up, 10 a game. So you're paying him $2 million, a little over $2 million a game, and you're going to throw him the ball 10 times. That's it. Out of roughly 65 to 75 plays, give or take, you're going to throw the ball to him 10 times. And so far, he's averaged 6.5 catches per game. All right, now page 2. Is Justin Jefferson the richest man in the world right now in the NFL outside of quarterbacks? Is he worth the money? Is he worth the money? Now, I know I just said a very negative, that I was raised as a football fan that you should not overvalue receivers, that teams win all the time, even in this era. As we said, Kansas City, without having a supernova at the wide receiver position. Chiefs have won the last 2. They got rid of their forever wide receiver, the Cheetah. They kicked him out of Kansas City, and they've won the last 2 Super Bowls with guys like Marquez Valdez-Scantling and that speed racer guy that likes to go really fast around Dallas, that guy. So to answer the question, though, is Justin Jefferson worth the money? Well, I admit I have neurosis when it comes. It's my issue here with paying a receiver that much money. That's a me issue. That's my problem, right? And Justin Jefferson, he has gone to the publisher and he has revised the NFL record book. And the numbers for that position are mind-boggling. Most receiving yards per game in his career, almost 100, 98.3, which is also an FM rock station in Toledo. You've also got the youngest player in NFL history to lead the league in receptions and receiving yards in a season. He did that in 2022. Also, most receiving yards through, I can go on and on. I mean, it's every freaking number for a receiver. It's Justin Jefferson. But when you take a couple of steps back, you got to stare, and you might want to get a power washer. It's all about the Moss, as in Randy Moss, straight cash homie. Or in this case, maybe a better analogy would be the beast mode. And Marshawn Lynch, as he famously said, take care of y'all chickens. So this is fair market value. The revenues keep going up. It's a multi-billion-dollar industry. And good for Jefferson. Mazel tov. You're buying juicy Lucy's for everybody. Good for you. Now, the last part of this, not to be a negative person, because I am generally Benny Brightside on this show, Mr. Positive. But I do have to throw a little splash, a little pinch of reality into this. How long does this honeymoon, $110 million guaranteed money honeymoon, how long does this last for Justin Jefferson in Minnesota? And as you know, I am a distant relative of Nostradamus and friend of Nostradamus. I also own a Magic 8-ball that was gifted to me by a fan of the show. So I have all those things. I am clairvoyant. I have eaten many fortune cookies. If you know, I was very fat. I ate a lot of fortune cookies. I'm still large. So I know fortunes. And the answer to the question, how long does this honeymoon period last for Justin Jefferson in Minnesota, is not long at all. Not long at all. And I've got to about week 7, week 8 of this year. That's what I've got. Biggie Smalls crooned back years ago that more money, more problems. And that would be the issue. The thing, too, about this is the idea, the premise, the very premise that if you pay someone X amount of money, they will then be happy no matter what. That is, we know that's not true. That temporarily, that is a pacifier, but long-term, there are still issues. And Jefferson, last I checked, will be stepping into the black hole. Not the Raiders' black hole. That would be the quarterback room in Minnesota for illustration purposes only. I'll use my telestrator here on the radio. But Justin Jefferson will be catching passes from, that's right, Sam Darnold. And if Sam Darnold does not keep the job, he probably won't, the Vikings will go with the great unknown J.J. McCarthy. Yeah. The same J.J. McCarthy who was so good at Michigan, they often didn't have him throw the ball. Because I know in my experience watching college football in the modern era, when you have an elite NFL quarterback, you hide the quarterback from defenses. Because college defenses, right, I mean, you don't want to embarrass them. So you have him throw 8, 10 passes a game, something like that. But that's J.J. McCarthy. He's in line. Panic picked by the Vikings, but he's in line to be the quarterback. Now, maybe he'll make us all look like jackasses and go out there and play well, but that's not that exciting if you're Justin Jefferson. You're not all gung-ho. But if Minnesota, the way I look at this, it's kind of obvious. If Minnesota is a middling team, somewhere in that 6-11, 7-10 area, in a division with the Lions, who are going to be good again, and the Packers, who everyone's slobbering all over. They got their knee pads out for Jordan Love. They're so excited for him. But we guarantee if the Vikings are a mid-level franchise, the middle class of the NFL, teetering on the lower end, then Justin Jefferson will be looking around for that gold-plated transfer portal. And up, and away as soon as possible, right? Because life does come at you fast, even in that tax bracket. The first person that taught me that money cannot guarantee happiness is a guy named Kevin Brown. You might not know who that is. You got to be of a certain age to know that. He's a baseball player and a very good starting pitcher. The Dodgers signed this cat to an S-load of money, but he didn't want to play on the West Coast. He's from Georgia. Had a nice house there and family's there. He didn't want to play on the West Coast, but the Dodgers threw in all these flights. So he was the highest paid pitcher in baseball, ton of money, a lot more than everyone else, and the biggest schmuck biggest a-hole, hated everyone, treated everyone like crap, as I recall. And he's like the richest guy. He hated everything. He complained about everything. Just a surly schmuck. And so I was like, well, if he's not happy, then there you go. Money does not buy happiness. Although it certainly helps. It gets you close. I will say it does get you close. And I'd like to have those problems. I would like to have those problems.